Okay, Bargain Boondocker here. You ever find yourself in the need of maybe fixing, rebuilding, or building a new exterior door for your RV or camper? And some of these older ones, you know, the wood inside of them deteriorates. I had to rebuild the one for the battery compartment. Well, this one here is for storage. So we can put our jacks in it and stuff. And right now I have my tools in it. And we can put our leveling blocks in there and put the jacks back this way and stuff like that. So if you need to make one, stick around. I'll show you how to do it. So when we bought this camper, somebody had taken the water heater out. It used to reside in there. I just put that on there to close it off. There's the water tank is behind that. But you have this cubby hole in here that I want to keep our jack stands in and the leveling Lego things that we use. Look like big Lego blocks. And so I've got to make, first of all, I need to enclose this. So I'm going to, okay, so what I'm doing is I've managed to get some scrap pieces of aluminum channel from actually my brother, who's redoing a large 43-foot coach right now that he plans on full-timing in, him and his wife. And I got this Porta bandsaw for cutting metal. My nephew gave that to me when he got a new one. And I don't do a lot of metal work, but it was a time, when I got to finally. So what I've done is I have cut these like this, with the ends like that, so they'll come together, make a mitered corner when I put them in. But the problem is, this side here has to go. This side, because I only need an L. I don't need a channel. So I need it more like this, see? But as you can see, this end is not like that yet. So what I do is I take a hammer and a block of wood, and I flatten one side down, which makes it very brittle. And then I come back and just bend it up a little bit with the crescent wrench, and usually it snaps off. This corner here is being tough, but that's a good time for me to stop and show you what it is I'm doing. So, when I get these done, then I've got to put a couple of holes in. This one's already got some holes in it. It was a used one, so I got some holes in it, so I can put silicone down inside, stick it up on the camper out there where it belongs, and run screws into the framework of the camper to hold it in place. And then I'll have the outer frame done of the door, but I still got to make the door that goes in it. But I can't do that till I get this in, so I know what the measurements are going to be. Okay, so what I've done so far, I've already got the door frame pieces put on the camper. I'll show you those in just a little bit. But I've measured and cut these for the door that goes on it. And this is the piece of wood that was covering up that hole. And it's not good for much else, but I think it'll be just about right to fill these in to make the body of the door. And then I've got some big sheets of galvanized metal around here that's kind of thin that I can use to cut up to make the outer skins. Okay, so as you can see, this is my galvanized metal piece that I've got to put on the outside, so it's white to the outside, and metal to protect it so the wood doesn't get all soaked and everything else all the time. I painted this with epoxy paint, which is waterproof, good waterproof paint. I did it in the front yard, which means, it's amazing how much bugs just love the smell of fresh paint. So it's already got wildlife included in my camper. I am so happy. But, what I do when I put these together, because I did one on the other side, I had to rebuild the battery compartment door at one point. So I have these channels that go on the outside, and I will run a bead of silicone, kind of a zigzag down inside of those before I put them on. So what that does is that squeezes it up around the edges here and down the back, so it gets along the edge of the wood. It seals everything in fairly decent. It helps to hold it together with some glue, but then I'll also use some screws through the end here and into the big piece of wood to hold it all together nice and tight. And and you got to countersink the holes so that the screw heads go in, so they're not sticking out and all that. Okay, so now I've got it mounted in there on the hinge, so I know that I can put it back in the same place. I got to put a key lock in it now, a little latch, and so I got to take it out and we'll go do that. And just use some nice long screws in there to hold it in. You don't want it coming off on you when you're going down the highway. That kind of pollutes things, makes an ugly mess. So I got it off and got this little cabinet lock from Home Depot for $6. And if you're gonna do multiple doors at one time, you can look here and get the key number and maybe find several packs, whatever many you need, that have the same key, so you don't have to carry extra keys. Unfortunately, they didn't have the same key number as my storage, the battery storage on the other side of the camper that I rebuilt about a month ago. So I have to have extra keys. And there's another issue I'm going to have with this one. These only go up to 1-inch thick doors. That's more than an inch. Let's get the tape measure on it. Near about 1.5 inches. So that means I'm going to have to run it through and then cut a space in here for the arm to come out on that. Okay, so I got everything out of the package, and I found the longest arm, because if I use the short arm, see, it's going to be right at the edge of the aluminum, and that's going to add an extra thickness to it that I don't need to deal with. So I took from the bag, they have a longer one, and I knew my distance top to bottom exactly 12.5 inches, so 6.25 inches would be right in the center. I placed that about where I want it, sticking out. Mark my spot. Now I drill a 3/4 inch hole, and there you go. I've got it on there. You'll notice on the inside I kind of gouged out way too much. Once I got it all together, I figured out it really did line up quite well with that. Why they say 1 inch, I don't know. That's 1.5 inches thick right there, and it still fit. But they say 1 inch. So I took out 1/2 inch, and I didn't need to. Other than I need to take out a little, but not a lot. So there it is, locked up. We can put our jacks and things in there for it, and they won't fall out on the highway like they almost did one time. So there it is. No work of art, but it does the job.